Kapchorwa district lies on the slopes of Mount Elgon in eastern Uganda. Rivers and forests abound in the highland area, resulting in scenic landscapes. The climb to Kapchorwa town, the district headquarters, is steep, strenuous and hazardous, especially during the rainy season. The deeply gullied, meandering roads and the lack of infrastructure led to the isolation of the district over the years. The Sabine people inhabit Kapchorwa district. One of the unique customs that distinguishes them from their neighbors is female circumcision, which they practice. In the past, no Sabine woman or girl was considered a full person. Neither would she be allowed to enjoy full rights, including marriage, before she was circumcised.
Whenever I could ask them, but why do you really like it? They could tell me that, you know, how do we identify ourselves as Sabine? If our girls are not circumcised, then we have lost our culture. That was a good culture by that time, because I liked the girls. Before being cut, they were virgins. They were to make sure that they were virgins before they went to be circumcised. But that case, because they were controlling their women, you know, long ago, this development, as they call it, development, there were no these towns where prostitution was.
Universally, female genital mutilation is considered an infringement on human and reproductive rights of women and the girl child.
Now people said, no, you are not going to marry a Sabine because you have not been circumcised. I used to tell them, but men are many, I can go anywhere. They said, no, you are, but with the Kapchorwa you are not going to get.
I was from school. Now reaching home, I found when people were already, they had got ready for the ceremony for me to take circumcision. Now I told them, no, I'm not going to take circumcision.
But I think the father-in-law was a bit kind. It was the mother-in-law who could do every morning almost quarrel that first beginning. Was there no circumcised girl for you to bring? Now you have brought for us a girl. Friends could tell him, now you see, you cooker, why didn't you marry a circumcised woman? He could one time tell me, but now, what was difficult really for you not to finish this thing at once? Is it very difficult? I said, forget about that. So I could tell him, no, don't tell me anything about circumcision. You tell me, I will go, and when I go, I will not come back.
I must say, I was born a lucky girl. My elder uncle is a reverend. And his being a reverend in a way influenced my father to be an active person in the church. And on top of that, being active in church meant taking your daughters to school, all your children to school, and having the religious aspect in a way changed our attitudes towards the practice. And I remember the first daughter of my uncle didn't undergo the practice. And she used to tell us that the Bible doesn't allow the cutting of women. It is only the men, because Abraham was told by God to cut his son Isaac. Yeah, but not the women.
They came, reaching at home. I was just in the kitchen preparing supper. Now they caught me by the hand, then they took me outside. While they were taking me outside, they removed everything. They started removing the blouse and also the skirt. Now I just remained with the bed coat. While they were still removing the clothes, some of them caught the ropes, then they tied me around the waist. Some big elders came. They said, "Why are you disturbing this girl? If she has refused, you better just leave her." Now they rejected about the elders. It was fortunately that the police came at exactly the time when they had prepared to circumcise me. So that time the police came, those people disappeared at that moment. Now when those people disappeared, some of them, the police ran after them until they caught some of them, about 15 in number. Now they took to the police. Then that time I was rescued.
So I grew up, went to school. When I reached senior 4 is when they passed a bylaw in Kapchorwa local government that every woman must undergo the practice. So what it came into my heart that if at all my father doesn't support me, I'll obviously run to another district.
For the Sabine community, they have one aspect of their cultures, that is female genital cutting, which is mainly called female genital mutilation or female circumcision. They believe that when they cut their girls, it is one only way they can make them be identified as the Sabine community.
Women who are subjected to female genital mutilation or cutting are more likely to suffer short and long-term health conditions requiring medical attention throughout their lives. Some of these conditions include trauma, tetanus and urinary tract infections, scarring and sexual dysfunction.
In Kapchorwa, female genital cutting or female circumcision involves the excision type of circumcision. This is where the labia minora and the clitoris are removed. But depending on from surgeon to surgeon, the magnitude of the labia minora cut off varies. Some cut small, others cut heavily. Now, this is associated with a number of harmful aspects, especially on the health perspective or the medical perspective. One of them is that there is a lot of pain which is involved. Like any other part, when you cut it, it is very painful. Secondly, it involves a lot of bleeding. And given the fact that the surgeons are traditional women who have very little about the health implications of maintaining hygiene and so forth, there is a lot of infections. And the situation is worsened now when we have this AIDS scourge, which is taking away the lives of very many people.
The idea of forming Sabine Elders Association was to identify useful cultures and improve on them or continue to observe them. And he identified harmful cultures to be discarded.
Since 1995, the Sabine Society, with the support from UNFPA, has embarked on a culturally sensitive program to address the harmful aspect of female genital mutilation or cutting in Kapchorwa district.
you are working with the elders who are the custodians of the culture, I believe to me is a very great achievement, because if somebody is anyway still resisting it, where is the backing anyway? If it is not backed by the elders, where is the person having the backing from?
The reproductive, educative and community health program approach involves the integration of community action to eliminate female genital mutilation into existing health education and national development efforts. The program, which has received support from national leadership at all levels, including the presidency, seeks to involve the girl child, whose rights female genital mutilation infringes upon. The program, in cooperation with the Sabine Elders Association, has also spearheaded the annual Sabine Cultural Day.
In 1998, His Excellency the President of Uganda, Mr. Kaguta Museveni, was the chief guest, and I believe that must have left a landmark in people's hearts in Kapchorwa.
Moses' father, Mamadet. When you call Mamadet in a woman, Mamadet, for me I've got Mamadet here. I was burnt when I've got one here, I was burnt when I was in the bush. I've got another here, I was burnt when I was a child. And it has wrinkled my skin somehow. Now, and this is on the arm. Now you can imagine the Mamadet in the...
We have received the very top support from government. The government has said it does not intend to use just legalistic means to ban this condition, but rather that it would like to see it being solved through a process that is culturally sensitive, that is owned by the people of Kapchorwa, and that government will be able to support the education, especially the education of the girl child, to make sure this is done. And we are very pleased about this effort, and we also continue to receive support from the donors as well.
We had enough votes in the parliament to pass a law and say now female circumcision is banned. But we didn't do that. We used the education instead. Because we knew it was precious to you people. You thought it was right, you know it was wrong, but according to all the information you had, you thought it was right. So we thought we should come to an agreement with you, not through legislation, but through education.
So if Uganda has a government passed a bylaw at national level, obviously, I believe either women will be cut at night or will be taken to the neighboring Kenya and be cut there.
Like all living things, culture also grows. All living things grow and change, and so does culture. It also grows and changes. If it is going to be a healthy culture. Therefore, the Sabine, when it comes to circumcising women, we appeal to them to change, because it's very dangerous.
Another resistance that we met was mainly among the traditional birth attendants and the surgeons. And up to now, even the surgeons have not openly worked with us.
Tano, watoto 10, kisi hiyo nakata yote. Juzi nasema ati ni mgonjwa kingine anashakuja, panda kandaena kitu hiyo na ingia huyo na huyo. Sisi natuba hiyo, unafanyia hii wembe. Saa hilo kama nalala chini nafanya namna hii na kutupa kwa kalaa na sababisha mkono na kutupa. Saa hilo kama nakwenda tia choo yote wapi? Sio. Na kushakataa hiyo samani msumari hiyo nafanya na wewe teng teng teng. Alafu nafanya namna hii web. Kesho yake bado nataka fanya namna nyingine baada kamata msuri. Sasa mtoto saa hiyo nasema na kwa kale. Sio. Hapa sali hii. Nafanya hii na kamata choo. Na kutupa kalaa na kusababisha mkono na kamata ngine. Paka saa ina nakuja sababisha mkono na kamata hiyo na kwenda tupa wale kwa choo yote. Alafu naenda wapi? Kwa nunua ngine. Naenda tena ngambo huko. Kwa nafanyia hao yawe. Na kutupa hiyo naenda tena choo. Nafanyia yawe. Na kutupa. Ndio hiyo.
The REACH program in full is reproductive, educative, and community health program. It is a health program which focuses mainly in educating the community about the harmful aspects of female genital cutting. Its main objective is to enhance the quality of reproductive health amongst all the people of Kapchorwa through addressing the harmful practice of female genital cutting with an aim of replacing it with a symbolic alternative. Secondly, through taking health services nearer to the community.
The program has also trained peer educators throughout the district. They in turn are involved in advocacy activities in schools and in the homes.
On Saturdays there's outings for boys, so you get that time. You meet them anyway and then you discuss, you tell them the harmful effects of circumcision until you convince them, until they accept, because some of them were saying, if I marry my wife, I'll make sure that she's circumcised. So you have to educate them until you tell them the dangers, you tell them that they will be difficult when your wife is delivering, until you come into a compromise with them. Also, on Sundays, there's also outings for girls. You also come, you meet some boys and girls, then you discuss also.
As I speak, we have 354 peer educators in the district. And these have done a lot of work in as far as changing the attitudes among the adolescents concerned. On top of that, they are change agents in their own families where they come from and their villages. So they have really sensitized a number of school girls and village girls. And as I speak, if you went to any school in Kapchorwa, you can't get any girl who has undergone the practice.
The REACH program has also integrated popular folk media activities like song and dance for advocacy purposes. This has proved a popular intervention because of the messages which the community identifies with and understands.
The issue of FGC can be talked, it can be discussed by all groups of people. Whether you're a Sabino or you're a foreigner, you can openly discuss about FGC. But previously it used to be a taboo.
Even if your husband goes to Kampala for a week, after that, the woman comes is at home and she goes for other boys or other men.
Me, I'm not circumcised and I will not even accept to be circumcised. So in case I just ask him that if you want me to get circumcised, then I'm sorry for you. But if you want me to get married to you, then you just what? Have in mind that I'm not going to be circumcised.
In 1992 we had a total of 903. In 1994 we had a total of 854. In 1996 we had a total of 544. In 1998 we had a total of 965. And in the year 2000 we had a total of 621.
REACH, I think, is doing a good job. Most people have known about the effects of this female circumcision. People who are really very serious, you could not talk about it. Now they are free. They are starting to live their girls, but we still need a lot of education.
I remember in 1996 when we began the project, we held a workshop for 300 elders. We thought they had come to listen and know what is harmful to the lives of women. But at the end of the day, they left. We ended the workshop when they termed us as foreigners who had come to interfere with the culture of the Sabine community.
Yes, it has been difficult. I'm not saying that we are 100% through. There are people who are still resisting, and I hope we shall change them. Although the practice has been here for a long time, people are now getting to know what has been in existence but has been there wrongly.
Together with the people of Kapchorwa, we've been able to reduce female circumcision in that particular district by 36%.
We had continuous workshops for elders, and by 1988 they had given in They really support the project, and as I talk, they are the major resource persons in all our workshops.
In recognition of the community's efforts to eliminate female genital mutilation, the Sabine Elders Association and REACH won the 1998 UNFPA International Award.
The TBAs have done a lot, and in the TBA training meetings, we've also included the traditional surgeons, the ones who do the real cutting of the girls. And most of the TBAs happen to be the mentors of the girls to undergo the practice. So to me, we've actually got the core change agents of the program.
We are not trying to say people should not do ABCD. All we are trying to say is that within those harmful practices like the FGC should be discarded with. But we also have to retain the good practices within the communities. So the issue of the Culture Day, for instance, will from now on be expanded to be a Culture Week, in which the communities can participate in many other issues which are going to benefit the communities. We have to move from village to village to get the messages across. And these issues have to be documented because they are good practices. And then we can move on to some other districts that are also equally affected.
Our problem is now among the newly married women who get pressure as a result of the mother-in-laws and fathers-in-laws who do not allow them to milk the cows, collect cow dung from the kraal, because girls are not expected to collect. So to collect, you have to be a person who has graduated into womanhood by undergoing the practice.
The success of the project has been attributed to the involvement, encouragement and support of community action for behavioral change. The one lesson learned is that condemnation of deeply rooted cultural norms only generates resistance, which hampers behavioral change programs.
Johnny Bosco.